Hi guys, it's Rich from Pitlanes.com, and today I've got the McLaren MP4-12C GT3 on Assetto Corsa. What I'm going to be doing is comparing it against the iRacing version, as is obvious really. I am aware it's a differing version and things like this, and it's going to be a very subjective look because obviously it's only my opinion. But I'm going to be looking just basically how it feels to me and the differences between the two sims on that. I'm going to be doing some laps around Silverstone on both sims. I'm going to be trying to match up the conditions as best as possible. Obviously it's different versions of the circuit, with iRacing having the old version now and Assetto Corsa being up to date in that department. So without further ado, we shall take a look at the iRacing version. Okay, so here we are in the seat of the McLaren on iRacing at Silverstone, the old version, like I say. And what I'm going to do is just a few laps and describe how I'm feeling about the drive of it, because you might not even have either of the cars, you know, you might not own a Assetto Corsa, you might not own the McLaren on iRacing. Now, as you can see, I've been playing, let me get rid of that. I have been driving this combo a bit this week because this is where the GT3 challenge on iRacing is, so I have got form, if you like, here this week, and it's a good time to test because the McLaren on iRacing has just had its own overhaul, if you like, with suspension geometry and things like that looked at, as well as the addition of new Time Model 5, which has certainly helped the cause. Now, I'm genuinely not sure what my verdict is going to be come the end of the video, but what I will say now is that until this season I hated the McLaren on iRacing. I thought it lacked feel of any kind, and I just thought it was a very disconnected drive, and quite frankly I thought it was one of the worst cars on the surface. I really didn't enjoy it at all. But this season, with the changes that iRacing have made, I've come to basically love it. So I'm very interested in this comparison, just because I do genuinely want to see how it compares, even if it is a newer model on Assetto Corsa. I don't really care. I'm not on about bashing AC or saying iRacing is better, but you know, I'm just enjoying it. Okay, so if you're wondering about my field of view, I am playing with triples, so that will look odd to you, no doubt, the way I'm recording it with OBS. But it's about the driving. So, one thing I've noted to compare it with in iRacing is that the McLaren is much more twitchy on the limit than the roof track spec, which is its GT3 equivalent on iRacing. So that's one thing I'm going to be mindful of when I'm driving. I think I just broke way too late there. I have. One thing I'm going to be mindful of when comparing the two, that slight oversteer there, like that, on the power coming out of the corner. It's good on the brakes. It's one issue, non-issue for me, and a thing a lot of people are complaining about is its ability to deal with curbs. But the rough track is a much more stable vehicle, so yeah, that's the comparison here, and that's what people want to see addressed in the balance of performance. The sounds in iRacing, having heard onboard videos and things, I really like the sounds on iRacing. And like I say, after the recent improvements to the car, I really enjoy the drive. A few think it's worse because of the ability to handle curbs, but overall, well, like I say, I was a hater and I enjoy it now. So, and just this, right now, just talking and driving, it's a good drive, it's good fun. It's not too dramatic. Obviously I'm not in a race situation and I'm going some amount slower than my best, as you can see, but I don't really have the capacity to talk and drive at that speed. So on Assetto Corsa, this is where we'll be coming around to the wing section on the right there. But the feedback is really good, it's very detailed. You can really feel that oversteer kicking in there, and obviously, as you're seeing, it's correctable too. Love the sound on the downshift in the McLaren. What I'm going to do is probably come around to the end of this lap and then give you some external footage, maybe like half a lap of just external footage of the McLaren on iRacing, and then I shall move over to Assetto Corsa and have a little go over there and see what I think of that. I have had a little go, but hey, let's reserve judgment just yet, eh? Okay, here we are in the seat of the McLaren on Assetto Corsa. Again, before any of you moan at me, FOVs because of triples. And immediately, what you feel is the weight in the force feedback on Assetto Corsa. It's much heavier feel. And to me it already feels a lot less dramatic, shall we say. He says as he runs wide. Okay, so already I'm thinking, again, it's a lot less twitchy, it's a lot less dramatic. Let's see how it is here. It's very difficult, really, because the way the force feedback is delivered to me is so different. It's very, I think the word's delicate in iRacing, and you feel what the car is doing really well. And in Assetto Corsa, even though it's heavier, I do think it feels like it lacks some of the fidelity. I'm not sure if that's the correct word, but it just lacks some of the delicate feel you may get from iRacing. Having said that, you still do feel your oversteer and understeer. That's not a problem. It's just different. So to compare the cars, it's a very tough thing, because we feel, obviously, in sim racing, unless you've got a motion rig, we feel through our wheel. So to me, as a start, that's vastly different. Now, as I said, I think the third time now, it just feels less twitchy to me. It feels a lot like the roof to me, from iRacing. It drives. It seems to feel a lot more sort of forgiving, sure-footed, I think would be the correct turn of phrase. I really want to push it up here, I think, see what it feels like. Okay, we got some oversteer there. Let's go through the Maggot Spec-Kits complex. Again, oversteer on entry there. Again, it feels really good. It feels different to the iRacing version for sure, but I think to call one better than the other would be unfair. I think they're different. Clearly, I've never driven an MP4-12C GT3 for real, so I can't say which one is the more realistic representation of the car. Both of them feel great to me, but different. Turns in well, it gets where I want it to go. Hint of oversteer on turn in, could probably be dialed out with some setup work. Yeah, I'd liken how it drives to the roof on iRacing. The McLaren of iRacing is definitely different in that respect. This feels more forgiving to me. In terms of sound, I think iRacing wins, personally. Going off the onboard footage and things I've seen, the interior sounds. Anyway, what I'll do in a minute is go to the external again. And let you listen to that. This is a lot of fun to drive though. Oh, well, there you go. Well, I'll keep that in. Oversteer on turn in, and it bit and spat me the other way. So, yeah, not really sure what caused that, but it happened. Okay, I'll finish this lap and go to an external view for you. So, what do I think? Well, honestly, I think we're spoiled. I think the two great versions of a car, honestly, I think the iRacing version offers slightly more in terms of feedback and feel, but that's really not to say that the Assetto Corsa version is bad. It is great fun. And when teamed up in multiplayer with a BMW GT3, then that could be hella fun. Obviously, that's a comparison that we can make in the future when when iRacing gets that. But I like them both. I think to compare them and to say one is better than the other would be wrong, really, unless you've got first-hand experience, because to me they both drive really, really well, and I have had many hours in the iRacing McLaren this season, enjoying it very much. Even though it is slower than the roof, it hasn't put me off in the slightest. It's a fun drive, and I've already had a couple of hours in the McLaren on Assetto Corsa, and it's very fun. For me, the only difference, as I've just mentioned, is the fidelity and the feedback. Up until, well, new time model 5, let's say that, up until there, Assetto Corsa was the sim for me. But recently, when iRacing have put the time model on the GT cars, I think they've taken a gigantic step forward. So if you've got Assetto Corsa, I'd like to know your feelings if you've got iRacing version as well. So please let me know. Personally, I'm going to enjoy both, and enjoy the fact we've got both to enjoy. So please like, comment and subscribe, and I shall see you soon. Thank you. Cheers.